Yeah, Pranav, I think we are up and running. Oh, it's good. It's 4:30 a.m. for Pranav, so that's what it is. So, yeah, it's nice to have you for this webinar. So, all of you who have attended the past webinars and some classes might have seen Pranav already. Okay, so this is uh, going to be a very interesting webinar on emerging technology trends in actuarial work, which is a unique one on its own. And we are actually looking forward for this webinar content coming from Dr. Pranav Sai. So Pranav Sai, previously we had the introduction. So here the way I can introduce Pranav Sai is one of the experts in the field of actuarial data science, where the starting itself, the career of Pranav Sai is actually we just launched into this world. He started his career with Swiss Re initially, and after that he moved to Deloitte in Dublin, where he continued the type of work which is evolving for the actuarial profession. Now, with the innovation that is happening in the technology and the way it is evolving actuarial profession, so he said this is the right time for us to uh, bring the old technology wave and what is upcoming for the future, so that's where everything will fall in place for you all. And also this particular webinar will provide additional opportunities for everyone to get a feel of it, where it is going, and then also move towards the you can fine tune your careers and then be in the right place for yourself in the future. Okay, so with that few words, I request Pranav to take it forward, maybe a little bit more on what he is doing, and go into the main topic of it. Over to you, Dr. Pranav.
So I'm going to try something that's going to be an acid test. I'm going to connect my monitor using this C cable. Hopefully my audio doesn't go. So just bear with me for a minute, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
You still audible? Perfect. It's okay. Thank you. And let me share my screen right away.
Able to share?
So you'll be seeing it in a sec now. Are you seeing it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. My name is Pranav. For those who haven't...
This meeting is being recorded.
The thing is, right, just before I go into the presentation, let me give a brief introduction about myself. I have close to 7 to 8 years of experience now in the field of actuarial and actuarial data science. And predominantly, I've always been in the world of data science integration with actuarial. And there is a reason for that, because I started out as a programmer. I did my bachelor's in maths and computer science. Then my master's, I got introduced to actuarial. So even before I knew what it was, I already knew what was C, what was linked list data structure and everything, how to program and stuff. And then this was more like an application, like, okay, so we know computer science or whatever we call it. And then there's this field called actuarial science that does a lot of number crunching. So let's explore that. And that's how I came into actuarial science. And I've always, stayed because of this intersection, basically. And because of this, I always saw the world of actuarial science in a little different way. Like, for example, if there is a pricing problem or a reserving problem, I always used to see it as a problem of, like, say, classification or regression rather than pricing, right? And it's that's how it was, and it also helped me a lot to seamlessly integrate into the world of actuarial data science. And during my PhD, it was like what it was predominantly to do with machine learning and deep learning with actuarial science and in Python and stuff. And then I have predominantly been a consultant all of my life. For people who don't know that, it's something like any job for that matter, right? In financial sector or tech sector, it can be divided into two broad categories. One is the industry or the product-based companies, and other is the consultancies. And I've always worked in consultancies. And why am I saying that now? Is because in consultancy, what you do is you work for different companies. So the period of 8 years, I'd worked closely to 15 to 20 insurance companies in India, in Southeast Asia, in in Europe specifically Ireland, UK, and Switzerland, and then in US as well, wide range of clients from there. So because of this, what happens is you try to understand where each of the clients are and how the technology is integrated within them and so on. And I could find some sort of pattern that had been emerging for the last couple of years, especially with the domain of actuarial. And I thought, let me share it with you all, especially for students who are already in the phase of exam preparation, or who are in the starting phase of their career. And that's broadly the main theme of this entire session. And here I'm going to talk about the emerging trends and technology in actuarial work. So what do I mean by that is, or what do I not mean by that is, I'm not going to say that whatever I'm not speaking would eventually die in the coming years, right? What I'm trying to say is these are the new opportunities, or the way the actuarial work is changing in this domain. It might affect you tomorrow or not, or you might take a totally different approach where this might not even concern you as well. But this is also happening along with all the other things in the world of actuarial science. And I think when you are listening to this, right, I would really hope you all to take it in this lens, rather than me saying, hey, you know what, actuarial science is changing. This is what you all have to do. And tomorrow, if you don't do this, the other jobs are going to die. I'm not going to say that, right? So yeah, with that, let us begin. And what we'll cover today is basically I've divided it into 5 broad categories. One is setting up the scene, what has been happening so far, giving you all a brief background or an outline. And then the 2 waves, which you all would have seen in the one-liner, one pager, which we would have posted on LinkedIn, the cloud wave, the agentic AI wave. And then we will also be talking about what's called as a full stack actuary, and also the opportunities that are there. Right. And whether we like it or not, the actuarial profession has been redefined, and it's not just now, right? It has been redefined for quite some time now. Like, there are actuaries about what this is one of the oldest professions, right? Fun fact for those who don't know, there is this Halley's comet that goes around the Earth, right? I think you can see it once in 80 years or something. The Halley's comet. The person Halley is actually an actuary, right? So the thing is, actuarial science have been there for so long, and it has evolved significantly. There were life actuaries, there were non-life actuaries. How non-life actuaries were there? So they would be sitting in the harbor, right? And there'd be these ships, they'd be going in a particular time of the year, particular weather, with the contents and everything. These guys would be there, and then they would see what's there in the ship, and they would be giving you a quote. Basically, that's one of their first non-life insurance quote you would have got, especially when there is going to be an event of shipwreck or pirates or anything, right? At least you can save something. So that's also an actuarial book that was there a couple of centuries ago. And then that moved into modern day actuarial world, when actuaries moved into asset liability management, or what's called as the next phase was looking at a risk portfolio in a singular lens called as SERA. And then we moved into big data and data science. Actuarial profession, whether we like it or not, right, it will always evolve. That's one of the very reason why it's been staying forever. Otherwise, the profession would have been outdated and it would have gone extinct, right? So for us to, we have to keep up to the change. And the bar has moved, right? 5 years ago, or when I also started as an actuary, or when I was consulting for different clients, right? And to significant extent, there are certain insurance companies where this is still the case. Like the world was Excel and VBA dominated. There are these pension models that are there. The Excel would have been used for I'm not exaggerating. There are Excel models that are there in the company for 10 years, 15 years. Nothing has changed because perhaps the maximum that would have changed would be your interest rate would have changed, or your assumptions or your loading factors would have changed, but the essential model is one and the same. It's like me saying an airplane or an aeroplane, right? The functional body of an airplane would never change. It's been the same for the last 100 years. It would have two wings, one tail, one snout, and the cockpit is in the front, and passengers are seated in a particular way. What might change is the way the engines are, but overall the structures might be the same, right? So that's how these Excel workbooks were. And you had these proprietary softwares like Prophet, Moses, and stuff. And the data pipelines is an engineering team's problem, and so on. But like modern day work, what we are doing is we have a lot of Python, we have PySpark, and these are all integrated in a cloud platform. Actuaries are building their own models. I never would have thought that I would be building and deploying an app a couple of years ago, because there are certified app devs to do that, or an engineering team to set the pipeline. But now actuaries can do that because of we'll see in a couple of slides down. And your data pipelines, integration, CI/CD, Git, whatever word you call it, whatever the tech-savvy words, that's increasingly becoming part of the actuarial profession, day to day. And in pre-2015, right? A reality every actuary remembers for people who have been from that era. Now, there are these CSVs that are there. There is not a single place where your data is available. It's shared with you on SharePoint, shared with you over email or on a quarterly basis, so on. And then Excel was the model, of course, or they would have used MS Access and stuff. This was even before SAS and R, and you have the version control, on the Excel. These were not so far, 5 to 10 years. In some companies, even now they follow this. And there are these overnight runs and stuff. So it was about, everything was working fine, just that the efficiency was not there, or there was a significant amount of time that was being lost in the hustle work rather than the main core actuarial work. And this evolved over time. And then there was this GLM and statistical modeling era. And here what happened was, instead of Excel, now we had SAS, right? So SAS and Emblem was created by WTW, Willis Towers Watson. And these are generalized linear models. I think SSSIA sir would know, the person who tried to bring in generalized linear models into actuarial world is a close friend, right? So it's not that very far as well. And then there was a SAS program. I don't know how many of you even know what SAS is. It's how to call it. It's also one more programming language for you to do some querying and then doing some modeling and stuff, right? It was good in its own way, just that it had its own drawbacks, right? And then R came in actual world, everybody started talking about R. Our actual syllabus got introduced with R and stuff. And that's because, it had more efficiency. It can do a lot of things. It can visualize, it can build models. It's not just statistics. It's it can be like any other programming language, but within the actuarial world, right? And but still, there were these siloed thing, GLM on large notebook. So I think we, a couple of us were involved in, using GLMs for really, really large data. Now, how are you going to solve that? It's going to run for a couple of hours, days. You don't know what. And then, there is not a unified platform. And again, it was all Excel dependent. I'm not saying Excel is bad, but just that, there was You do task 1, take it out, task 2, take it out, task 3, take it out. So it was not a seamless thing, right? And this was what a typical actuarial work would have looked like. You would be in charge for a given model, and you would be working with different teams. And engineering team might set the pipeline, or an app dev team might take your inputs and give it. So your outputs would be their inputs, and then there would be a pipeline that would be created. And if something breaks somewhere, nobody knows where, it goes into a panic mode, so on. And that's what was there in the GLM and statistical modeling era. So before we go into the advent of cloud and why we are doing all these, I just also want to make it a little interactive, because I know that I'm the only one who's speaking here. So sometimes it might become monotone, right? And because of that, we'll have a lot of interaction. But before that, I just wanted to do a quick icebreaker. So this challenge, you would have seen it on Instagram, right? So there are these puzzles that are on the screen, and all of it has some sort of a saying or some word or a phrase behind it. Can any one of you give it a try, or what do you think these are?
Yeah, so the third one is top secret, if I'm not wrong.
That's amazing. Third one is top.
The second one is 9 to 5.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, working 9 to 5. That's amazing. Yeah, good job.
Number 4 is I feel low or I feel down.
No.
I
You're
fell
close,
down.
but no. So yeah, the first one and the fourth one are a little tricky. Yes, second one is working 9 to 5. Amazing job. Third one is top
First
secret.
one, ready to go.
Amazing. Yeah, ready to go. Shout out to who it was. Vaishnavi, is it? Yeah, good job. Ready to go. What's the fourth one? What's written over there? And I think, okay, let me give you a clue, right? It's a landmark.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, it's
Eiffel
Eiffel
Tower.
Tower. Yep. That's really good. Yeah, we have a couple of them, in the other slides down the line as well. And yeah, that's nice. Apparently, these are called some rebus puzzle or something. Good job, guys. So now let us talk about, I'm talking all these, right? I have some demos and everything, but I would ask you to perceive it in this way. Just ask why this guy is coming and telling all this, right? Try to reason it out to yourself. When you're trying to do that, when you put that lens, right, it will be really interesting. So I'm going to talk to you about the most advanced thing in the world called as the cloud. The cloud insurance are not into cloud. Let me tell you, what cloud is in the coming slides. But all of you must ask this question, right? But isn't cloud old news, right? Cloud, if somebody, I would have talked to you about cloud, you would have been like, means it was trending like 4 to 5 years back. Why am I talking about it now? The thing is, of course, cloud, big data analytics, Spark, Hadoop, Apache Spark, PySpark, everything. These were trending a couple of years ago. And what happened now was the last couple of years, somebody launched a product, right? And the last couple of years, insurance companies have steadily been developing their architecture or their database management systems on cloud. So basically, they've been adapting, whatever I've told you, right? All these were in silos. What they did was they tried to put it on cloud, okay, let us adapt and migrate to cloud. And then the last perhaps 5 to 10 years, right? This hard work has already been done. The dirty work has been done. So when you guys work tomorrow, right? Nobody significantly, right? By then, you won't be expected to lift and shift an organization from legacy systems to cloud. That's not your job. What your job would be that now cloud is already there. cloud, somebody has built that, like, infrastructure for you. Your task would be, can you operate on that? It's something like somebody has already built a car for you. Are you in a position to drive it? Right? Because everybody, like, who were traveling with the company on the journey, they would know what cloud is, or like, they would have spoken with the vendors and everything, right? Of course, when like an appliance is being installed in your house, right? The guy who installs the appliance would give you a manual and you can ask all your questions and everything. You would be familiar with that appliance. But somebody new comes, right? Would they know as well? And why should they know? Because they need. Did somebody ask a question? Or was it by mistake?
Yes, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Not a question, just a better clarification. So earlier also actuaries were working with the data. Now also they are working with the data. Just the difference is that the data is stored in the cloud.
Go ahead.
Is it so?
What's your question? The thing is, right, it's not just the data that's being stored in the cloud. I'll show it to you, right? Cloud is a unified platform. It's something like your phone, right? It can do everything and anything you want. You can query the data, your model sits there, your production pipeline sits there, your engineering pipeline sits there, and your work, instead of Excel now, like, you are going to maintain a repository in the cloud, and it's the onus is on you to, like, deploy into production and stuff. You getting what I'm saying?
See, like, putting it another way.
Yeah, I'll explain that more. But really nice question. Like, I really would expect everybody to think in these lines. Now, all these are there, and now you would be asked to work on them, right? So let us go next. And where are insurers today, right? There are 15% are cloud natives. Natives in the sense these are like the guys, the early adopters, pioneers. They are like 100%. They think in cloud, right? And 40% of them are AI first. So sorry, cloud first. So significant chunk of operation is still in clouds, but significant chunk of them are like, it's still legacy, but they are on the process. 35% are still migrating. 10% are in early stage. And this is the reason, like, so by the time, like, 5 to 10 years down the line, the chunks over here might come here, these guys might go here, these guys might also go here. So everybody would be cloud native, especially with the advent of AI and everything. And how Actuarial works today? Answering your question, Veer. So now, before, data is a flat file, manual cleaning, Excel print. Now, live pipelines, governed data, Snowflake or Databricks. It's like, I'll explain to you what these are. Your models are no longer in Excel anymore. They would be there on cloud, and you would be computing on cloud. So it's not just like you might say, okay, yeah, I know how to use VS Code or Jupyter Notebook. What difference it would make? It's not about you using Jupyter Notebook on your laptop, right? That's fine. That's a good job or a good start. But can you run and compute code in a cloud instance? No. And like, how would you convince an insurance company that you know that? Or like, what is the credibility which we would achieve? Like, for example, in actuarial science, nobody is going to ask you a stats question if they know that you have cleared stats papers, correct? The new, well, it's like CS1 and CS2, if you clear, nobody's going to ask you some stats question to test your knowledge. So what is similar thing for these? Because now their systems are there. Can you speak their language right now? So that's the question which we're trying to answer. And here the speed is like, Profit was taking overnight runs, PySpark and on-cloud clusters, like, you can do millions of rows in minutes. Now, what was versioning, like, in shared drive and stuff, that was pretty manual. Now you have your entire Git repository for that. And deployment was not perhaps mainly an actuarial job, but now it's like, your architecture has been designed such a way that, like, modern day actuaries would deploy in production. And I will, like, give more details about that. And this is like, different cloud providers are there and where they stand in the market and stuff, right? So inside a cloud framework, when I talk about cloud, I'm not talking about it as a data storage platform. I'm talking about an end-to-end data platform, right? You have your sources, you have your policy systems, claim systems, market data, experience data, and stuff in your sources. And you have an ingestion pipeline, like, how we are, it's something like, let us imagine this as a kitchen, right? Your cloud is like a kitchen. You have your vegetables and whatever you want in your fridge. And now there's a pipeline, like, okay, somebody has established the thing. If you click, like, this is what you want to make, appropriate vegetables would come out of the fridge. It will be washed and it will be cut and it will be given to you. And then it's up to you to whether you want to saute it or, like, you want to put it in, and make it a paste out of it and stuff like that. So now this is that entire ingestion pipeline, right? And then there is a storage. Now, cloud is about two things, right? One is storage, one is compute. Storage is where, like, it's something like your laptop, for example. A laptop has your storage, that's your hard disk or RAM, and you have your compute, that's your CPU, right? Now imagine this in a virtual instance. And then you have your MI and AI, machine learning and deep learning. We'll see some interesting stuff. We'll try to build some agents on the fly on cloud. And we also talk about APIs, we talk about dashboards, CI/CD, and so on. So now this is your entire cloud framework. And before I move on to Databricks, I have one more set of puzzles. Can anybody answer these?
I suppose the seventh one is ready again.
Second one is Century.
Okay, so we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's the answer for 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah.
Century is the sixth one.
7 is Brownie, that's right. 6th is not Century, it's something little complicated than that. I think that's one of the most complex one in the entire deck, actually. Foreign language is 5. Yeah, you're right. Good job. 5 is foreign language, 7 is Brownie. And what are these two?
I think the second one is Actuary.
Good thinking though, but not exactly. You can try to crack this as well. This is a little easier. See where the E is positioned on,
Is it ready?
on this. The E is, where is it located? It's Brownie. Yeah. And this one is like, okay, E is located in the end. So that's the clue here. Right, okay, this one is called finally, like, it's the final E in the series, right? Yeah. And this one is a little difficult. It's actually like you have to think in 2 different levels. This one is, believe it or not, it's long time no see. So if you have C, right, it's century. Century is a long time and there is no C here. It's long time no see. That's what the puzzle is saying. That was a little difficult one, right? When we talk about cloud, we have 3 major providers. We have AWS, Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is so huge, right? It's one of the very few profitable aspects of Amazon. It's a profitable business. Or some significant aspect of Amazon might not be profitable, but AWS is what, like, that drives Amazon forward, especially in the recent years. So in AWS, you have these different terms, right? Like, it's again the same language. Like, in my language, there's a word for come here, go there. Like, all the platforms might have similar, right? So here it's the storage, like your RAM or ROM, it's there in S3. And EC2 instance is your virtual compute. The SageMaker is where you build and train and deploy models. Now here you won't be, so when you're trying to talk about a data platform, right, you won't be building your machine learning model using your sklearn toolkit on your VS Code on your laptop. You'll be building these on the cloud platforms, train them, deploy them, test them. And then you use something called as an ML flow, or you'll use something called as an auto ML, right? That would actually deploy these models in production environment. What is production environment? Production environment is something like, so it's something like playing gully cricket and playing cricket on the cricket ground, right? In a test match. So POC is like gully cricket. It's pretty easy to make. You just need a bat and a ball and then a road to play. But production is like you have the actual environment. You have the pitch. You have to wear your attire, guard, helmet, and everything. So that's the reason, right? That's a world of difference between just playing on the streets and playing in the ground. So, and you have your security, you have your step functions. I don't want to go into the details, but I would like you to think in these directions. And then you have your Azure. Azure is like AWS is Amazon. Azure is Microsoft driven. So instead of your EC2, your S3 and everything, you have your data factory, you have your Synapse, you have your Azure ML, Azure DevOps, Power BI is the front end of Azure. That's pretty well known to everyone. And then you have your Active Directory and so on. And there's Google Cloud Platform as well. That's also one of the big providers. So any company which you might go into, right, they would have the data either in AWS, or they would have in Azure, or they would have in Google Cloud Platform. But these three are your, how to call it? These three are your ground layer, right? It's something like a foundation of any cloud system. But now on top of it, there are certain wrappers or data platforms that are built on Azure, or it's something like a good example would be you have built a car park, right, for you to park your cars, and now a company is there that actually manages the entire car parking system, trying to mark the car park and put that lights green or red, whether the car park is taken or not, the tickets, the duration counter, the staff and everything that's built on the car park, right? So car park is required for you to store your data, but you need this team to make that car park functional. So that's where you call it data platforms. And then two of them is Databricks and Snowflake. Like, how many of you know Databricks? Yeah, have you heard of Databricks? Anybody? You can just raise your hands. That's amazing. Databricks, guys, I don't know whether I've told this last time as well. Like, at least if not anything, right? Databricks and Snowflake and a little bit of AWS, you would be expected to know sooner rather than later, especially in this domain of actuarial and data science, right? So let me, because it's, I'm also pretty close to Databricks. It's a cloud platform again. I'll take you all through what it is. And once this call is over, right, you can reach out to me, or you can perhaps try to do it on your end as well. So this is how your Databricks platform looks like. And your AWS, to some extent, might also look very similar to this. And there is a competitor to Databricks called Snowflake. They are also similar and different in different aspects. And this is how they look like, right? And this is your landing window. Now, let me try to tell you, the importance of it, right? So tomorrow, and actually, if the insurance team is on Databricks, right, you'll be given this as access to you. You won't require your compute or anything on your local laptops, right? Most of us here are in Mac because, again, all these are cloud platforms, right? It's going to be just cloud and nothing to do with your laptop, isn't it? What's the question? I'm going to go see here. I have to Google this one. This is again, okay. So to be honest with you, Veer, I had not heard about Supabase before, but it might be if it is, right? But there are a lot of different players in the market, but these are certain big markets who have really good market share, and they are so they are like the pioneers in these platforms. For example, Databricks are the guys who invented the Apache, the Spark framework, right? And they built a product out of it. And if you are able to process huge chunk of data, the way it is today, significant amount of gratitude to be owed to Databricks as well. And this is what you are given, right? And you are an actuary. Imagine this is what you have. Now you need to understand what these are, right? So you have your workspace. You have your workspace, like, I have, it's something like your local system, right? This is your workspace and stuff, where you have your notebooks, you have your data, you can, or anything and everything, the artifacts which you create. And this is called as a Unity catalog that is very specific to Databricks, and wherein you have your schema. So this is where your data is at, like, your entire database systems, right? You can see it here. And they have their own different clusters for you to compute the data and stuff. And there's something called as jobs and pipelines, which I will talk in some time. And then you have your SQL editor. Here you have your queries, your dashboards. So you're not building dashboards anymore as a product on the side. You'd be building on the computer. Like, I can create dashboard here, or I can go and query. So you just need to, like, this access is given to you, like, even you can play around with it, right? Now, why am I saying this is because, let me, like, pause a bit here. I work for a company or I consult for them. Now, these guys moved on AWS, and then on AWS, they built this Databricks system. And your actuarial models and everything, right, sits on Databricks. And now the team is growing, right? And they want new people. Now the thing was, they wanted actuaries who had Databricks experience and PySpark. And believe it or not, they were not able to find. Like, I was trying to conduct interviews as well. I'm not just talking in India, I'm talking in Europe as well, right? They're doing significant round of interviews for people, like, who might know some Databricks, little, like, even in college, little bit, if they would have done, we would have taken them with actuarial exams as well. But we could not find them, like, after, like, what, 3 to 4 months of us, like, there were some profile mismatches or whatever. And while all these were happening, right, when Databricks person was not there, so what we tried to do was to go to take the final call. Our manager, an actuarial manager, he decided, okay, let us park the actuarial exams for now. Is it possible for us to get at least a Databricks person who has worked in insurance field? And then we found a couple of people who are not yet cleared their first exams, but they were into Databricks. And we brought them inside the team. And now they are up and running because they know how to maintain, deploy models and stuff. But of course, their actuarial understanding might not be that great. But now they are writing their exams once they're in the company. So you're seeing the shift, right? Previously, like a couple of exams might have given, could have filled that role. But now people are asking either AWS or Snowflake. Like, when I joined the company, I did not have experience in Databricks. I had in Snowflake. And when companies were like, okay, you know what, Databricks and Snowflake, perhaps it's pretty similar. You can do, on this. And that's how I got this job. And now I'm up and running. So what I would suggest you all to do is try to see, how you can get this experience. Try to build something hands-on. Like, all these have some student discounts, and it's also sometimes you get free instances for you to just play around. There are the certificate exams, which I will talk to you a little in some time. And here, the important thing, right? I'll come to that question just now. So here, I can deploy a functioning agent. So this is an Agentrix platform. So every cloud system right now, they want to run on, it's like they want to create agents and stuff. That is what is going to differentiate now between Databricks and any other provider, right? Now, when this is happening, I can easily create an agent. All these are like production ready agent, which I'm talking about. I just come here. I want to create an agent. Okay, let me create an agent. What are the agents I have here? I can create a multi-agent supervisor. I can create an information extraction, knowledge assistant, document parsing, and so on. Let me perhaps create knowledge assistant chatbot. Okay, now for that, I have to add something. So now, see, I'm creating an agent on the fly, right? I did not do this before. So let me go to catalogs. I'm going to create a volume here. Okay, let me call it dummy. Fine. And I'm going to select a catalog. So this is like, once you are handy, right, you would also be able to do this pretty easily. And okay, that's
Mr. Pranav,
checked it.
what is this
Yes.
catalog and then like what you did?
This catalog it's a Databricks term, right? It's how to say, it's a database records. It's something like your, if you say your address, right, you would tell your street name, you would tell your area name, your city name, your state name, right? So when you flip the other way around, you live in this state, that's your first level.
So
Within
data
that
is
state,
basically
you
stored
live.
here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something like that, but a little more, it has governance as well. It's a governance and database system managed together. That's why it's called as a Unity catalog. And catalog is in Databricks, and it's a native term there. And it's very similar, like in other platforms. But that's what I mean when I talk about catalog. So let me upload something here. Select files. I'm going to upload a policy document. So here I'm not just creating. So now people have thought I could have actually used ChatGPT, right? Upload this PDF there, give an answer. It would give, it's a good POC, but it's not in production. Production means nothing should break and it should give the same answer or similar answer every time you deploy it, and everybody should be able to use it, right? That's the production pipeline. So, and that's what you're trying to do in Databricks. It's not just one PDF I'm doing for the sake of it, but you can do like, thousands and millions of rows of whatever data you want, it can process. And okay, now we have uploaded to this volume. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an agent. So let me create an agent here.
Does the data have to be numbers always?
Need not be. So mine is actually a PDF. So that's a good question. Now let me perhaps show that to you. All right. Basically, right, these are again proprietary to different cloud platforms, right? It's something different like your iPhone and your Samsung Galaxy. Everything, they would have similar features, but what features are better in what platform, right? So in Databricks, it can take in a lot of different types of data, right? And the thing is, it can, like Databricks is really good when it comes to processing of PDFs, for example. Now you have PDF documents, you have text files, right? Text files, it's easy. ChatGPT can also understand. But imagine that the PDF has some diagram, process flow or something. Can your agent understand that firstly? Like, how do you understand the semantic nature of your agents? That's what Databricks would do here. Like, it can create that on the fly for you to understand the semantic nature of your document. So if you upload with files, images, tables, and all, it can take it easily, and then you can create a RAG agent out of it. And that's the simplicity of Databricks. But there are other platforms like, that would do something like, perhaps to run something in AWS. Instead of using Databricks, you can use AWS directly. It might be a little cheaper, for example. Now let me, just a sec. Use agent. File to review. Yes. See, a white stylus burst does within a large text circle in a blue background, right? So now what it's trying to say is every single page, it has understood the contents of the document and it has processed, and then it will understand the semantics and everything. Now what you see is I just uploaded a document which has a lot of images and tables and everything. Just by uploading this on Databricks, it created a text-based file, and then it's easier for me to build an agent on top of it, correct? And I can format the way I want, and I can come here, and in fact, I can create another agent.
Parsing?
Sorry?
How is it different from basic parsing? Like whenever we, like in the internet, we have convert PDF to text or some other file. That is exactly what it is doing right now, right?
So what I'm trying to say is, right, every platform would do it in a different way. It's the same thing. Parsing is the same. As I said, right, you could have used ChatGPT as well. You can create a multi-agent orchestration. But can you save millions of rows of data, do agent parsing or whatever, create an end-to-end pipeline, or I can go and create an app that's facing the front end, take care of my engineering platform, and also try to create job over here, like, process A, process B, process C, process D. And also all of them governed by governance. Insurance is hugely governed market, right? So now any data breach happens, security breach happens, it would underpin the way Databricks has been established on this client system. Correct? So now it's one-stop shop for every single thing. Now our responsibility is, as an actuary or whatever, are we able to play around with this? I'm not saying that, hey, come on, Databricks invented a car. No, cars have always been there. I'm trying to say that Databricks has created an end-to-end platform for you. They've given you a garage. Are you technical or capable enough for you to use them? Right? So, and this is one aspect of it. I can create a knowledge assistant and everything. Like, I just wanted to, show this one came in Databricks 6 months back. Like, the still in beta version in some countries, but it's really good. That's one aspect. Second thing is, can you program in PySpark? PySpark is like what? PySpark is something like it's something like if you want to read something, right? You're going to write an exam. And if you're given 1-page document, you can read it on your own, and then you can just memorize it, throw the paper, and then you can write. But if I'm giving 10 books, your reading methodology only would totally change, correct? And that's what is big data analytics. Now, PySpark is essentially that. It's not just you creating a random forest model, but it's about creating a random forest model that is production grade, and that can sit on top of millions and billions of rows of data. In one client which I worked with, there was 1 trillion rows of data. I'm not lying. How are you going to handle all these together? Now, previously, there were engineering team, there were the actuarial team, there was the app dev team, there were the solution arcs. But right now, one person is expected to do all these together. Getting it? That's my that's what I like. If I want to summarize the entire talk in 5 minutes, is this. Now, perhaps going back to this slide here, there is something like Snowflake. I'll share this file with you all as well. This is again just an information. It's a really good handbook for you all. But for now, a day in a life of actuarial data scientist, right? You have to pull your experience data from Snowflake using dbt transform tables. Are we able to do that? Now, of course, you are not expected to learn every single thing, but companies might train you as well. But if somebody already has this experience with whatever training they have in college or in whatever work, you would be favored more than a person who would not know this. And here you're not supposed to, I'm not even talking about any single thing that comes in, like Databricks, Snowflake, AWS, perhaps even Salesforce or any other platform. There are so many platforms that are there, but at least you might need to know 1 or 2 in this area for you to thrive in the future. And perhaps quickly, guesses here? Just 10 seconds.
One is I understand.
Yeah, this is I understand.
Forget it.
Sorry?
11th is potholes.
No. Good guess,
The
though.
10th one is forget it.
12 is lemonade.
Yeah, this is forget it. This is lemonade. Amazing, guys. What is this? Count what these are. Count the number. Pot. This is like what, 8?
Portraits,
This is
portraits.
Portrait.
No, it's actually potatoes. No, 8 house. Yeah. Right. So coming back, right? So now the next generation of actuaries, they'll be called as full stack actuaries, right? They own the entire stack, coding in PySpark, building your data pipelines, integration of APIs, development in front ends. Now, of course, you are not trained for that, but it's about gaining that experience while on the fly, right? I did not start as a full stack actuary, but eventually I was I was working with the team and stuff. So it's something like it's a numbers game, right? You could have cleared 3 actuarial exams, but why are you clearing 15? Because there are only thousands who have cleared 15, but there are 10,000, close to a lakh who have completed 1 or 2 exams. So you want to narrow down the number, right? So when you try to get these skill sets in the future, when cloud and AI and everything is becoming native to your organization, these are the skill sets that would actually drive you forward. The delivery stack is, as I said, right? You have your coding, you have your PySpark, Python, SQL, you have your data pipelines, you have your API integration, you have your dashboard tools and apps, and then you'll be standing in middle of all these, and you might be expected to deploy in production, some feature has come in, right? Some say for example, some insurance software needs an update, but they want to ensure that the actual pipeline is not failing. And the actual pipeline should not be failing. The entire process needs to be run in the test environment, and then it needs to be productionized. The actuary should be there. For example, when we're trying to make a software update, right? Our tool crashed because we didn't account for Japanese yen and Thai baht. Why was that? Because one rupee is equal to close to 100 yen or something, right? So imagine $1 or something would be thousands and 10,000s of the Southeast Asian units, in Korea or Japan. Now I'm talking about billions of dollars. Now billions of yen, so it will be trillions, quadrillions or something, and we didn't have that number exactly. And in the software update that crashed, right? So now this is how your day-to-days might look like as well. Okay, are we trying to build new stuff? Are we doing production and maintenance? Are we going to be there when things break? Right. And journey of an actuarial model, you have your development cycle, you have your version controls, you have your testing, you have your CI/CD production and monitor. Now actuaries would be involved in every single step, more than what they were before. And especially when a unified platform is there, everybody is using the same kitchen, right? So previously it would have been one guy is washing the vegetables and then going to the next door and giving the vegetable. That guy would chop and then give it to somebody else. Now you have a single unified platform that can do everything for you. So of course I'm doing some of my work and I'm seeing that some guy what he is doing, because everything is in a single pipeline. Eventually what would happen is he might do my work, I might do his work, that there won't be any practical silos that would be there as we go forward in the model journey. And if we do it better, it's better for us. And yes, so it's something like this, right? I built the model, wrote the pipeline, built the API, created the dashboard, and I'm talking about a guy, let me use the term super actuary, right? And this is not something common right now, guys. I'm not here to scare you all, please. Don't think that you don't know much or oh my God, what is this? This has not yet happened. This is going to happen in some time. And if you know this, it's better. Right? And again, this is about scaling and everything. We'll come to this later because we have the time. Now we have the bigger wave, right? The bigger wave is where it's not just cloud. Now your entire platform is ready. Everything is given to you. And now AI sits on top of it. When AI sits on top of it, right? I would ask you to think this way. Here, I don't have, I don't want to present much here. Everybody knows what OpenAI, Cloud, or Anthropic, or anything it is. It's about, how are you going to use an agent or an actual or an LLM on your day-to-days? Okay, there are LLMs. I'm not here just to, create a Ghibli art out of it, right? I want to do something else as well. I used my LLM. I think my ChatGPT was it was GPT-2 or something in my last interview. I gave the job profile. I gave the people who are going to interview me. And I asked ChatGPT to give me 100 questions for interviews, right? For the role I was being interviewed. Can we do that? It can do it, right? You can write some documents and productionizing, like for an actuary, right? There is this exam called CA3 where so many people fail. CP3, like even in English native speakers in UK and Ireland, they fail. And why is that? Because we want to convey a complex problem to a simpler audience. Now, can we use agentic AI or LLMs to do that for us, instead of not just completely replacing what was done before? This is where we want to think. Now, can we use AI, which I never thought I would have used it in the past? Perhaps I used AI to, instead of I have car insurance, I'm going to take a photograph of it. Can I build a tool in my house that can actually, and all these, you don't require coding expertise at all. Nobody needs to code anymore. Nobody's a coder, right? Everybody can do vibe coding and stuff, and you can build on your own, right? So can I build a tool okay, if you give me the image of the car and the damage, it can assess what's the impact of it, right? You can even use in ChatGPT, you can build something like this. Can you create your ideas into a presentation, your actual knowledge system? So actuaries of today in our teams as well, right? It's not about guys who know a lot about agents or LLMs. It's about guys who can build something quickly, fail quickly, build quickly, fail quickly, right? I can be honest with you. I might not be the best LLM guy, right? But what I know is, okay, given a problem, I can do whatever, I can fail 100 times, but I'll come up with a solution because I have the world with me in my hands in terms of AI. And that's how the actual profession is being changed. Perhaps if you are in college or if you're built in earlier phase of your career, try to build something like this. It's not just you knowing AI, it's can you build something on top of it. It can be very simple as an agent is let us ground ourselves to the business problem at hand, right? A call center, your calls are being recorded for quality and training purposes. We say that, right? Now we take an audio file, we create a small agent that can basically assess the overall sentiment of the guy who called. Was he angry? Was he happy? Was he neutral? Was he rude? How can we categorize that? Or it can be like an actuarial exam is there for me. I'm going to use agentic AI to train myself in this. I need not go elsewhere to buy my sample questions or something pay a lot of euros. What I would do is I have the materials. If with whatever notes I have made, using that, can I create something on my own? But and of course we have to understand the principles of licensing and everything. But again, can we do something on our own backyard? That's what is the thing. One person, endless capability. You are an actuary, you are a data engineer, you can build an app, you can build solutions. Other day, right? There were a couple of friends who came over and we wanted to play dumb charades, right? And the ones that were there in the app store, they were all not so Indian. And what I did was I opened Claude and I was like, I wanted an Indian nice version of dumb charades. And then this is where the people are from and this is the theme. And it created an app for me, right? Now, anybody can build an app, but can we let us try to think using this fun element in our state. Can I build an actuarial app? Everybody can build. There are close to 100, 150 people in the call and YouTube, right? Can we build 150 different apps? And that's what companies will look out for tomorrow. Can an actuary be a data engineer? A small, of course, data engineers will always be there. They would be the main guys. But can an actuary be supporting the data engineering pipeline, the app dev pipeline? Can he or she wear an hat of a solution architect? And can he be or she be an AI builder? When we think like that, right, that's where our growth is. Actual qualifications that are important. And on top of it, can you do some Python or PySpark and SQL? These are to handle some data platforms and stuff. Now it's not just about handling Python or querying SQL, and SQL is there everywhere, Python is there everywhere. But can I do it? Like, it can be as simple as, like, one person was asking me. It's as simple as creating a parsing document, but I created something on Databricks that is native to the company. So company knows that, okay, at least I know the look and feel of Databricks than other applicants who have not even heard of what Databricks is, or, like, who have not even, like, like, if that thing is given to them, they might not know how to start with, right? So can we have data pipeline development and maintenance? Can we have API integration? So these are, like, increasing complexities, right? Again, I'm saying these are not there today. They are only there at one minuscule level. But 5 to, like, perhaps I don't want to put a timeline, right? Perhaps 2 to 3 years down the line, this might be very common. And if you decide to adapt today, you would be running already when other people would decide to walk. And because when I'm now from an employer side, right, I'm looking, our team is expanding, like, from 3 people to 6 people to 10 people to 20 people. Like, this one small team, right? Core actuarial data science team, not even actuarial team or data science, within actuarial data science. And we are looking at a combination of people. We are looking at purely actuaries who have really good domain knowledge, who have a lot of papers under their belt. We are looking for actuaries who can program in Python and PySpark. We're looking for actuaries who are into Gen AI space. We're looking for actuaries who are looking into app devs, right? They are really good in creating some front end, like, some dashboards and, like, and also deployment on the, like, front end and stuff, who can code and React and everything. We were looking for actuaries who can do CI/CD pipeline, right? And the manager who manages everything, who he would know or she would know everything, like, whatever I'm talking about. And that's the bar that's been systematically moving. And why is this moving? It's because somebody told cloud is pretty, like, that's the next big thing 10 years back. Now everybody is on cloud or data platform. And every data platform is competing in building their own in-house best agentic platform, right? Databricks is having the edge right now. Now, tomorrow, AWS SageMaker, when they are going to come up with an update, now, like, they compete with each other like any phones do. And that's what it is. And that's where we want to, like, look ourselves in, like, a couple of years down the line. And the skills roadmap, where to start? Somebody might ask me, where do we start this? So, of course, these are like foundation, intermediate, and advanced. We can, like, start with these. Start with Python, a little bit, SQL, a little bit. You need not even learn everything, right? You just need to know how to use ChatGPT to code in Python or SQL or query data. You just need to understand if a problem is given to you, how do you solve it? And like this, for example, as I told, right? If you clear an actuarial statistical exam, no company is going to test you on statistics. Now, how is no company going to not question you about Databricks or Snowflake or AWS? Right? These have, like, for example, let me open this. If I go and put, like, Snowflake certifications, beginners, Snow Pro certification. So now what this is like, it's like similar to an actuarial exam, but it's like, registered and it will be proctored. You can take it from your own home, right? But what these guys do is they just, there is a course, it's something like a little advanced version of Coursera or Udemy, right? This is given by the cloud provider themselves. You just need not do anything. These guys would explain you what Snowflake is, where, what is it, like, tab 1 does this, tab 2 does this. You just keep to drag the mouse from A to B for you to do something, like, the fundamentals of Snowflake. For anybody who don't even know what that is, there's a certification there. So instead of you telling you no Snowflake, if you're saying you're Snowflake certified, your value would go up significantly. The same thing would be like AWS. You have your AWS certifications depending on your skills, or you have your Databricks. I do a lot of Databricks certifications as well, right? And, like, these are like, you have your fundamentals, your associate, your professional. You can go over time. And yeah, that's how we try to build an actuary of tomorrow. Actuaries, of course, that's not going to change. Your exams are going to be there. But can you do all these as well? And somebody over here might tell me, hey, I'm not into programming. I'm not into computer science. I'm a BCom student, like, for example. In the company which I work for, it's a tech-based company, right? 50% of them or 40% of them are non-technical people with regards to they might not have hands-on computing or programming language. Because it's something like along with computing, right? Along with computers or programming or anything, there are these allied lines that also grow along with it. It's called regulation. It's called governance. It's called change management. It's called transformation strategy. So now, like company wants to do some change, go from platform A to platform B, and actually should be involved when okay, I know a couple of companies who moved from Databricks to Snowflake or Snowflake to Databricks or they went to AWS to Azure. Like they move, right? Why should they move? Do they have a risk framework? What are the risks associated? So these are also the allied thing that also comes along with it. It's something like if government builds a tourism hub, it's not just about the hotels or anything, right? It's about the train cost or bus cost to that destination, that economy that also improves along with it, the infrastructure, the people around, and anything for that matter. And that's what is going to happen when cloud and data and AI are going. There are all these significantly not so technical job roles that would be fundamentally essential for these insurance companies that will also be growing with time. And the opportunity today is we are most in demand actuarial data scientist, cloud migration project, model productionization, data build. So again, these are the top roles that are available here where the demand is still less. So what I would suggest you again is try to be your early runner. Try to start today, because not many are thinking in these directions, right? Perhaps they might think once they're 5 to 6 years down the line. Like I started like that. I didn't work on any cloud platform 4 years into my work. After that, I started working, and now it's my day to day, right? So it's something like if you do this, it's really good. And the opportunity of tomorrow, like you have your AI powered pricing engine, automated reserving, AI governance validation, actually would be a product builder. And I think that's the end of the presentation. And perhaps before we start, I think I skipped one slide of the puzzle, and we'll finish that. Yeah. And then again, we'll open it up for questions.
For the plotting, is it twice?
Sorry?
Twice.
No.
Advice?
Advice. That's amazing. I thought this was really difficult, but nice job, people who cracked it. These three?
Yeah, four heads.
Four heads.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Box
This
plot.
Polite.
Box plot. Whoever thought was it it's out of the box thinking, but that's not the answer. But yes, that's good. Polite is the right answer for this. What's this? So forehead, advice, polite, and this is see the fonts. What's happening to them? Something like the movie's second half. No.
Plot.
It's the plot thickens. You say that, right? When the movie is going really fast, the plot thickens now. Yeah, that's what it is. But yes, with this, I conclude my presentation. But one sum and substance. Please, if not hands-on, right, try to think in these directions. This is where the industry is moving right now. The early adopters are doing it now. There will be little late adopters, the mid-market. Eventually, there are people who would be migrating over and over. And if you upskill yourself today, you would be in demand tomorrow, and you won't be replaceable.
Mr.
That's
Pranav,
what I've seen. Yep.
somebody had a question in the chat box. Can you please like that?
Question, please. Can you highlight?
Yashwant Roy question. I also got curious with that question.
As we are learning about GLMs, Excel, and similar tools, shouldn't we also shift our focus towards cloud platform and modern-based systems? Yes, firstly. And what is the long-term value of learning GLMs, Excel? Most industries and workflows are gradually moving towards cloud technologies. Good question, right? So now the thing is, there is no direct answer to this. I'll tell you, right? I work in one company, I consult for them. There's a property-based company. The top man, the global head of property analytics, I would be doing some amazing work, computing, run millions of simulations and give the report to him. So you know what the first job he does? He's he's the global head of property analytics. What he does is he downloads it, creates an Excel. He does some number crunching. He wants, wants to look and feel the model because that's what they have been, they've always been thinking in Excel. And of course, they would be doing it. And then he would create a sophisticated model and they'd be like, okay, now I can see how the numbers are going from A to B. Now I'm fine, I'm convinced. Now you can go ahead and deploy in production. So of course, then these Excels, GLMs, they won't die. Like GLMs came, Excel still stay, right? It's something like people would be using cloud-based systems, SQL and PySpark more. GLMs and Excel would also be there, but you need to understand what's happening in GLMs and Excel for you to even go and it's something like you need to understand. It's like something like you are in fifth standard right now, right? Just because you're in fifth standard doesn't mean that second standard, third standard knowledge is based. It's something like you're in fifth grade because you develop the knowledge from first, second, third, fourth, and that's where you are. So I think that's what would happen tomorrow. GLMs, Excels, and all the different models would be there. That would be fundamentals of actuarial understanding for you to even understand how pricing works. For somebody to understand how pricing works, if they know GLMs, they would have really cemented their understanding how rating factors and everything work. Now, once they understand this, they can build cloud-based solutions, perhaps using GLMs, without using GLMs. You're getting my point? And so this would always be there. But on top of it, there would be next things that will be developed. Perhaps this might not be this might not be the most important or the most front line of actuarial modeling. But this will always be there for you to understand the fundamentals. And of course, there would always be teams. So I'm in a team that builds agents and everything. Right? Databricks releases a product, we go and deploy in production within a week. That's how fast we are. Same company, there is one more chapter wherein they're, I think, in the pension side or something. They have been using the same Excel for 10 years right now, and they're happy with it because nothing has changed. The modeling has not changed, right? And it's pretty stable. Tomorrow nobody wants to touch it. For example, I think US airspace and aviation industry, right? It still runs on a code that's written on a floppy disk. Though we have all these, because it's so integrated into the system, right? Nobody wants to change it anymore. So there would always be roles and positions where these would be your integral part. So yeah, of course, we would be more towards cloud, but this will not die. But to answer your first question of as we are learning about GLM, shouldn't we also shift our focus? Please definitely shift your focus.
But yeah.
Okay.
Amidst this, there are pension actuaries who are still working in Excel in the UK. Okay, so of course,
yes,
this is like a stochastic process. It keeps on evolving. Maybe in 2030, you'll have another sort of, evolution in technology. So this is something is in the today's market, right? What do you reckon with?
So it's something like it's about, it changes from company to company, right? And it's about how fast they want to develop and how the competition analysis and different externalities are there. So there are these stochastic processes which you're mentioning. And if the company is fine, I know a company that runs only on Excel, end-to-end, nothing else. And they're fine with it because that's their operation and that's how they are built. Their code values have been developed around that Excel modeling platform. So, and if a company is coming today, they may not even be using Excel. They are all native AI. So there would be mix and match irrespective of 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. But It's something like it's about us whether we want to choose this or we want to choose that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, newer companies when they are actually launching, like the digitized newer versions of new companies, even in India, they don't adapt the old technology for their purposes because they they want to scale up because there is a constraint on the older technology. That is why new technology is coming, and each time whenever a new thing is coming, it is building on top of it. Like we want to use Excel. There is a limitation on how many rows it can have, right? The limitation on actually if it is so huge to open itself, it will take time. So there is a speed and accuracy both actually come into play with respect to the newer innovation that is happening. See, I see very companies which are 100 years old. They are actually pushing ahead to transform themselves, maybe in a different name. See, because some of them they are putting their own subsidiaries and then trying to do that. So much is happening. So yeah, the Pranav that the point Pranav is bringing. So where you want to be, right? That is also matter, right? So you can choose where you want to be, but like there are growth paths and there are the traditional ones. You need to choose one of them. Right. Yeah, Pranav, you see 2-3 questions in the chat.
Is VBA still relevant? Yes. So again, I work for consultancies, right? So different teams, everything. So there was one Solvency 2, or these are like audit reporting frameworks, it's like massive ones, and these are fundamentals to the company. And there's lots of complex modeling that happens. And I was building 3 different products for 3 different teams, right? And one team wanted it in VBA. And that was like, oh my God, I'm using VBA after my college, and they wanted in VBA because that's where the workforce was. Because the workforce knew VBA. For them, going from Excel to VBA was like a big thing. But is it relevant? It might not be as relevant as what it was a couple of years ago. But then it won't die. But if people are again moving from VBA, they move to SAS, they move to R. Now they are in Python, they are in PySpark. And now they are actually in English. Nobody codes anymore, right? We only speak in English to ChatGPT. Hey, can you do this for me? And that will give it to you. So yes, VBA, it's not as relevant today as it was before, but it's not died yet. And would our roles still differentiate from software engineers?
I have a question connected with that. Like I was going for learning VBA. So I have a lot of second thoughts that whether I should go for it, because now given that there is Python and then we can connect ChatGPT and Claude with Excel. So should I go for it?
Let me put it in one line, Dhruv. If you learn Python or R, you can do the same thing in VBA. But if you learn VBA, you may not be able to do the same thing in Python or R. Let us put it this way. It's not doing Python or VBA. It's something like what you can do so that you can do everything else as well. Like I did not learn Python for anybody over here. The only programming language that was taught to me was C. C was taught to me. And then everything else I developed on my own. Because more or less the grammar and everything is the same, right? For loop is going to be for loop, any language. But once I know it in C, I could easily develop in Python. So if somebody is going to start right now, I would suggest you to start in Python right now, because that's the most relevant. There was this race between Python R, but with ChatGPT advent, right? Everything is built on Python. Python, PySpark shot up massively for the last 2 years. So, and that's most in demand as well right now. So, if you are going to start something, I would really suggest you start in Python. Would our roles still differentiate from software engineers? That's a really, really, really good question, Rajat. It's something like it's like a data scientist, right? When the data scientist term was defined, data scientist is a person who does a lot of different things, whatever definition you want to put. But the underlying statement was cemented to a business problem. a data scientist without a business problem, like, you would be floating in air. It need not be actuarial. It can be any single thing. By business problem, it can be like, measuring the number of shots Steph Curry made or Virat Kohli made. That's also fine. That's also business problem only. So some underlying fundamental problem would be there. How our job would differentiate from a software engineer is that we would know the domain as well, along with all the other things that software engineer might know. Software engineer might be better in 10 different things of how to deploy an app or build a front end or build an app development better than us, right? But the thing is, tomorrow, if we want to develop something, like I had to build a tool on the fly, because if you want to build a product, right, you need a team of 30 to 40 different software engineers end to end, and they didn't have the budget for that, and they wanted an actuarial tool that has a product field, right?
Is not audible only to me or?
Sorry, I think I lost you all for a second. What was the question? Sir, there was a question right now. I think I lost for a second.
Yeah. We lost you for a minute here.
I don't know. The thing was, I just wanted to say that the gap is narrowing right now, but the advantage what we have over the traditional software engineer is we would know the domain much better than what they do, and that's what might give us edge over them.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, any questions? Like some questions came up in between.
Yeah, I'll just work with sir and we will share. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of insights from this session, Pranav. It's a practical one, right? So what you've been moving from one type of skill to the other type of skill, and then what was there previously, and then what is actually driving now, and then where it will lead. See, there is an urgency in this entire thing to learn newer things. It is speed. Before they become obsolete, you actually gain maximum out of it and then try to utilize it for your professional purposes as well as for the organization you're working in. Okay. So apart from that, the newer ones need not be always the superior one. The one which the skill that you have, you can actually based on that, like how Pranav, based on his early school thing, whatever he learned, that actually becomes the basis, and then keeps that in as an intact thing, and then takes it to the next level of application, whatever comes. Like, say, over 30 plus years, I've been working on various technologies, started from COBOL, mainframes, like all those things. But like now, if you see, there is a the underlying thing remains same. The newer features which are each one of the technology innovation that is bringing in, that's what actually we want to integrate well with the actuarial profession. That is where the key lies, right? So otherwise, see, the innovation is innovation, actuarial is actuarial, but it doesn't actually make any sense if we are not adapting. So even the outside world won't allow companies to be away from that also. It's not possible, right? See, if you look at actually 10 years back, what are the top 10 companies, you can try it on our own, type it on Google and see top 10 companies in US or world, and from the insurance, and then banking or some other thing. And then again, now type actual top 10 companies now, you may find actually more than 70% changed actually. So that was actually one of the slides when I attended this like 15 years back in this Microsoft presentation by their CEO. So it was a live in-person thing. The first slide was that 10 years back, these were the companies who were actually reading. Now look at actually, I'm not finding one here. See, that's the speed at which actually technology companies they move. They may have to they finally to exist, they actually go and acquire those new companies. That's how it is. So finally they exist somehow, right? So this is where it stands. Like even the company, its name may remain same, but what they do really may change completely. Like Amazon, we may know only for buying and selling, but Amazon actually really stands on the AWS. That is where actually the whole set of great companies they rely on that and then move on. So if not the name is changing, what they are doing changing. So this particular webinar is to bring in that aspect which actually Pranav very effectively brought. So when you look at this particular these 5 units, in that actually what was there a couple of years back, actually in reality you find many of the companies in the world, they have not even actually adopted what was there. Means that, so will they go through the what was there now and then go to the then what is going to be there? No, I don't think they will do that. They will just directly jump into the agentic AI and then keep going, right? Because they have missed a step. It doesn't matter actually, because you cannot go again. It's not like the staircase where you go one by one, like it's a lift actually. Directly you get to the target level and then go there. So that's why you see newer companies have greater advantage. So from the point of view of students who are actually undergoing the summer course and the internship here, and then those who joined from industry today. So our point of view is this. So we are going along with the external innovation that is happening, working with the companies which are actually adapting to that. And we see there is a greatest opportunity for you. And you can actually be on top of it while you do your exams. You can always pick up this. Sometimes exams cannot change as you think, because it's a slow process there. So to have some of the exams which are actually data science related to integrate in the actuarial curriculum and and actuarial exam, that itself actually took some 5 years, and not many really inclined to take up the like predictive analytics exams by Society of Actuaries. So that's only with the Society of Actuaries it remained. So what like our students have taken up that, we respect of whether that it comes in their pathway or not, but just to explore, this is something very important for them. Same way, there are many other subjects which are coming up from the Casualty Actuarial Society, like PCPA, like that is for property and casualty predictive analytics. So there are quite a few. They're trying to change, but by the time they change, the agentic AI came. So there is then by the time you see, this is the exams path is good, but like it won't give you the edge that actually the real industry is doing. And also industry won't the way we are actually trying to sit and explain. I don't think anyone will do that, because there is a element of there's a competition in the world, right? The collaboration is there, but like the competition in the world which drives many people, right? So companies won't really reveal what they are doing, but like we can see what they are doing based on the outcome they are actually having, right? So there's a research side, there is a the academic learning side, there is a industry side, right? So the newer technology directly drives into the new industry, and then that's where you see what Pranav explained today. See, you won't find that in textbook. There won't be book for. There are no books actually even for agentic AI. Right? There are no books for AI also. See, the books are there, but like the book actually becomes obsolete in no time. Right? So this is where we stand. That's where the expertise of the people who are genuinely doing what they are actually contributing to this society and their question, the actual question, along with the data science, which was actually the main thing a few years back. Now the AI, the Gen AI, then comes the agentic AI. So your way of learning, we suggest you pick up what actually best suits you, and there's nothing like no right or wrong path. You may walk for a longer time. That's the thing. But like there is the shortcut here, which actually provides a beautiful way of making things very well for you and others, right? So with that, actually, we close this session. But like still, if you have any more questions, we'll be there for another few minutes and then take. Pranav, you want to add anything?
You can hear me, right? Yeah. So the thing is, right, same thing is, these are, nobody's going, perhaps they're not actively looking in these directions. Again, I'm emphasizing that I'm not here to scare you. Please don't think that, oh my God, I don't know a lot of things. If you are like, seeing these for the first time, these are some things which you want to start right now, so that in a couple of years or couple of months or whatever, you can be up to speed. And then when tomorrow a new role comes in, right, you would always be there, hey, I've done all these on top of my actuarial exams. That differentiates you, like the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, just want to add one thing, Pranav. See the recent survey of the US news body, that again kept the actuarial as part of the technology where it stands, as part of the STEM where it stands, as part of a good job where it stands, like one of the better jobs, right? Top 100 jobs, top 10 jobs, like that. If you find, if you look at actually this actuarial actuarial job as a technology classification, it is top 5. Actuarial job as a STEM job, science, technology related thing, that type of thing is 11. And then if you look at the across all the jobs around, right? If you see on average where it stands, it is about 100, right? So it is a very genuine survey. Like we have kept that in the chat. Please look into that. So we are not saying everyone needs to jump into the technology of, aspect of the actuary. You still need to know that very well, because these jobs are high-end jobs. That's how we see. We don't see actuarial jobs as a low-end job anymore, because those entry jobs are also slowly becoming more and more with agentic models. Most of those things actually can be reasoned, analyzed, and then you can have actually an agent which learns everything of what you learned over a period of 5 to 7 years, and then be as intelligent as a person who passed the most of those papers, right? But at the same time, it also can reason it out, like how it does in multiple things. So there are ways to rebuild through agentic AI exactly what a particular type of role can be done. But at the same time, there is an element of judgment, there is an element of signing, there is an element of ownership. You can't hand over ownership to a mission, right? But at the same time, the routine job and then ability to do those things in a consistent and accurate way has actually gone tremendously high. So that is where the actuarial profession or any other profession, because it's not just actuarial profession. You look at actual medicine, legal, you name it, that is all leading there. So there is no reason why we will be left alone and to do whatever we want without being concerned with what's happening outside world. Like then, see, in countries like Malaysia and some other geographies where, see, unlike India, where we have 1,000 actuaries, 25,000 is made. And there are many other countries, smaller countries I'm talking about, where actually the they get exemptions. So by virtue of that, actually, they become qualified people, which is one way to get actuarial certification. But at the same time, they don't have jobs. So what they becoming? That's the question I asked them when we were in Malaysia last time. So then they told, yeah, they become data scientists. That's what they become. So the other way around, we are telling actually, you be an actuary and then learn the technology and then apply it in the way which you want to do. That's an excellent situation for you, because the domain knowledge, without that, a data scientist it's a loose end. It has no proper meaning. So ours is one of the best professions from that point of view, which actually can integrate. If you want to test the software for a most complex thing, we have the right problem from the actuarial science. Means it can actually make it very complex with respect to reserving, capital modeling, or if you ask anything, it can actually bring in the most satisfying way of actually testing your innovation in the technology. So that's a great match between these two. So that's where actually we see the entire thing is leading, and it's your opportunity to take it up and then keep moving with that. So thank you, Pranav, with this a great webinar for everyone, and those who are in and in the company, those who are actually looking forward. Yeah, this is, if we review this same seminar, same webinar, maybe in down the line after 2 years or 5 years, you may find, wow, we told that time, and then this is what. So we were actually, like when Pranav was doing PhD, so he's one of the first 2 PhDs in India. Like Rohan and Pranav, they were doing actually at the same time. So we never talked about discussed about the traditional way of doing things, because already I worked in 9 different companies before I moved here. Then I found this can be actually enhanced its way, and then I found the right people to do this, and that's it. Then if you look at the way the whole thing can be moved, so you see, it just needs some right people. That's what actually we are looking for among our participants today, uh, to take up the idea and run with that, and then make it as your own idea, fine tune it what best suits you, and then you can actually add great value to everyone. So from our point of view, we really want to do this as a mission to help upskill our students as well as the professionals. So you be part of your own way. You can actually do it on your own, add value to people, and then you will find great value is added to yourself also while doing this. With this, once again, thank you for waking up around 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. in Dublin, and then being active all through, and making it very interesting by asking questions and in between, and then making them very involved in this. Yeah, it's a 1 hour 45 minutes continuous thing, which actually remains as a permanent in memory for people who really want to take it forward. Okay. Yeah, we will make it available, the recording of this webinar in the next few hours, and those who are actually going through, so please go through this, make your understanding more crystallized, put your LinkedIn comment so that actually others can gather what you picked up, rather than what we want to say to others, right? This is your learning, what you want to say to outside world from this particular thing, so that actually others get inspired, okay, to this, okay. So this particular webinar, we will make it as available in actually maybe in a few hours. We have recorded, so we just need to upload it and then make it available to you. Okay, right. Perfect. Thank you all for participating.
If you have any other questions, we'll stay here for a couple of minutes. If you have anything, otherwise feel free to. Yeah.
Yeah, you can also type in and send your questions to support if you have any. Okay. Okay, Pranav. So we'll close this session for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.